How's it going today, boys? Today I was, well, not today, but I was playing this crazy game called Saya no Uta, called Song of Saya. Basically, it's a Lovecraftian horror eroge created by Jin Urobuchi. I believe that was his name. Might be forgetting it. Um, but I couldn't sleep tonight. You'll quickly learn that out. But so I just decided to play this game, record it. I've been wanting to play it for a minute now, but just got around to it. And then I'm explaining more about the game when we actually get into it. But I recorded enough for 4 parts of this, so quite a lot. But gonna be a little tired, so might not be that enthusiastic. But let's get into it. But basically here you see that it says it's a horror eroge by Nitro Plus and was written by Jin Urobuchi, and basically it's like kind of like Lovecraftian horror, so gonna be pretty wacky. So I say we just jump into it. Also, this game runs in non-realistic resolutions. I think the game is a little dated now. Yeah, 2009. I'm pretty sure widescreen resolution was out by then, but I will run it. Warning, this game contains grotesque imagery, violence, and possible R-word. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, I know this is going to start out with some very crazy sounds. So the work of fiction contains grotesque images that may disturb some viewers. Please select how you would like such images displayed. And I'm just gonna default it to not to modify. Yeah, this is what I was expecting. Even if my headset turned down, I can still get blasted by this. Three such creatures sit around the table in front of me, slurping filthy sludge from their cups as they trade whines, growls, and sounds that I cannot describe. By listening carefully, I'm able to grasp the gist of their conversation and respond when it is required of me. This is necessary to avoid arousing their suspicion. However, these creatures look, they are my friends, apparently. Okay. I wish that I could still deny it, but I gave up on that long time ago. Night after night, I went to sleep praying for an end to this nightmare, only to wake up each morning to the same twisted hellscape as the day before. I know now that I have to blend in, that I have to act like one of them. Such has been my life these past 3 months, and so it will remain until the day I die. Judging by its tone, this one must be Koji, and the next to him scoring more than the others is probably Omi. Which means that the next one is Yo. Though I can no longer see any trace of her once attractive features, I try my best to ignore the rotten stench of excrement that issues from her quivering flesh. So, I don't know how long it takes to explain all this, and I'm not going to say much about it. This is the bare minimum that I actually know about this. Everything has changed. For almost everybody. By some cruel trick of fate, my relationship to this world alone remains the same. As if an insane architect took the blueprints of my life and rebuilt it out of blood and gore. These monsters and I were part of the same college club. We studied together, ate together, we even went skiing together every winter break. Now these are but painful memories of days that I will never return. If only no one recognized me, I might have been able to disconnect myself from the world. It would have been comforting in comparison to believe that I have been abducted by aliens, or that I have stumbled through a gateway to hell. But no, this is beyond a doubt the city where I was born and raised, the society that I was part of for 20 years, save that I, and I alone, can no longer see it that way. The world I knew is gone. I have no place to call home. Okay, so if you're not getting it by now, basically, he lives in like this fleshy type world. I kind of know some reason of it, although I don't know the complete reason of why this happened or how it happened. Maybe we'll explain some more of it. Anyway, I can tell that whatever they're discussing is of no importance to me. I decided to keep quiet while pretending to listen. But just then... Hey, Fuminori, one of the flesh beasts says as it swivels its bloodshot eyes toward me. What do you think? About what? I tried desperately to suppress my loathing and behave normally. My hoarse voice ruins the attempt. Oh, we're talking about years. We're talking about this year's ski trip. We're coming to, right? Sorry, the lowercase and capitalization mixed together is awful to look at. The slimy hole near the top of the creature writhes nauseatingly as it vomits some semblance of words. That must be Koji's face, or what I would have seen as much as 3 months ago. Unable to stomach the sight of it, I avert my eyes and give a neutral answer. I don't know. You have other plans? Not really. These are my closest companions. One of them even wished to be more. How many nights have I spent crying in loneliness, laminating the friends who no longer exist? In 3 months, my tears ran dry, and now there is only loathing left in me, surrounded by hideous creatures that I can only assume are Koji, Omi, and Yo. I spend each day trying to act as I always have. If I fail at this, I'll surely be sent back to the hospital. Only this time, I'll be locked away forever. No matter what, I won't let that happen. I mean, it's not like physical activity could affect your injury, right? I'm not sure. I was the doctor during my checkup. That's it. I can't look at them or bear their screeching any longer. I jump to my feet, desperate to escape. Minori. A spray of stringy slime from the cilia around his voice box flies at me. I tried to cover myself, but too late to keep the slime from splattering across my face, like the yolk of a rotten egg. I'm about to lose it. I want to grab a chair, a desk, anything within my reach, and use it to smash the life out of this creature, ending it all. I barely suppress the impulse. I must let on that something is wrong. However, they look to me. This is in the world. I'm the outsider here. Like I said, today's my checkup. I've got to go. Struggling to put on a smile, I reach into my wallet, pull out the first bill I find, and put it on the table without even looking at it. I don't care about the change. I just need to get out of here now. Later. I mutter hastily and flee the cafeteria. Okay. So basically, if you didn't get that, bro is basically schizo. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, no one else sees the world as he does right now. It's, I mean, horrific for him. But basically, the small amount I know is that, and it kind of just explained it, is that he's been going to checkups for his at the hospital with his doctor. There's completely nothing wrong with them, or at least that's how it seems to everyone else. Even I believe is probably what's about to be explained is the doctor doesn't even know what's wrong with him, and everything even seems normal. Even his brain activity is normal, but for whatever reason, he sees the world like this. So I'm not sure. Hey, says Takada Omi. Why don't we go somewhere we can skate for this year's ski trip? Fukuba Yo frowns at the suggestion. I don't even know if that's how you say his name, by the way. Skate? But why go to a ski resort to skate? Give her a break, Tsukubi. It's all she talks about these days. Tono Koji supports Omi with a laugh. Her impromptu suggestions are nothing new, and it's Koji's role as her boyfriend to provide backup. They're a good match for each other, Yo thinks. Sometimes it makes her jealous. I mean, she's seriously never gone skating before. I took her there the other day. Hey, is it really that strange? Not many people start skating in their 20s, you know. I was scared when I was little. Those shoes looked like big knives. But you picked it up just like that. That's pretty amazing, Omi. The light like skiing. You keep your weight forward and use the angle of the shoes to steer. Quick break, real quick. This is another thing that I saw. Right now it's showing how the world's supposed to look to everyone else. But quickly you'll see that this is, again, not how it looks down.
コウジにそう言われたも
He
んだ
made
か
it
ら
sound
さ
so easy. I figured I should
騙
give
さ
it
れ
a
たと
try,
思って
and it
やっ
was
てみ
fun.
たわけよ。そうしたらもう楽しくって。
So it was a date. Yo feels a stab of envy. Koji and Omi enjoy their time together as normal lovers do. That's certainly not something that should make her jealous. It's just that her luck in love has been bad.
ふーん
Oh
私
well,
も
I
見
want
て
to see
みたい
Omi
な。
skate too.
オミ
Yo
ちゃん
keeps her
が
voice
スケートや
upbeat,
ると
trying
こ
to
ろ
cover up this something. She knows that it's wrong to envy her friends. She too would be spending time with the man she admires, if not for the terrible tragedy that befell him. He is true misfortune. Her bad luck doesn't begin to compare.
だか
I'm
らさ
guessing she's
ね今度の
the
ス
one
キ
he
ー
was
旅
talking
行
about.
ついでにスケート
So
旅
how
行
about
に
it?
しちゃえば
If we make the next ski trip a skating trip too, it'll be twice as fun.
でもさ
So how about it? If we make the
ス
next
ケ
ski
ート
trip
は
as
スケート
sorry.
リンクに行けばできるじゃない
But you can skate at a skiing
わざ
rink,
わざス
can't
キ
you?
ー場に行ってま
Why
で
go all the way
や
to a
る
ski resort?
だから
I
屋
don't want
内
to
じゃ
skate
なくて
indoors.
さ
I want to skate
屋
outside
外ス
on
ケ
a
ー
lake
ト
or something.
そんな都
This
合
sounds
のいいと
fun.
こ
Won't it be
ある
crowded?
かな
While speaking, Yo sneaks a sideways glance at the young man sitting next to her. Although the conversation has involved only 3 people so far, there are in fact 2 couples at the cafeteria table. Yo's boyfriend, though there's still some doubt over whether he could be called that, is beside her, as silent and expressionless as a statue.
なあ、Fuminori。
Hey, Fuminori, what do
お
you
前は
think?
どう思う
Perhaps Koji sensed Yo's pain in his usual quiet and considerate way.
どうって。
Bro's got that dead look. I'm gonna be honest. About what? The cause of Yo's distress. Sakisaka Fuminori responds to Koji's sudden query with a vague, mumbled question of his own.
いや、だからさ、
We're talking about this winter ski trip. You're coming too, right?
お前も
Koji speaks gingerly, as though probing a tumor. A few months ago, he would not have hesitated to rebuke Fuminori for his attitude. Their long acquaintance had forged a strong and honest friendship, but now,
わからない。
I don't know, Fuminori responds bluntly. His downcast eyes and sullen demeanor make it clear that he has no desire to break his
何
silence.
か他の予定
You
で
have
もあるの
plans?
かいや、
Not really. Even Koji, Fuminori's best friend, cannot communicate with them as before. What hope does Yo have of breaking through this shell? The scars left by the events of the late summer day are still deep all these months later. Each one of the 4 bears them, not only Fuminori.
ああ別に
I
運
mean,
動するのが
it's not like
傷に
physical
触るとか
activity
そうい
could
うわ
hurt
けで
your
もないんだ
injuries, right?
どうだろうな
Sure. As a
今日の診
doctor
療
during
で
my
先
checkup.
生に
Okay, so
聞い
yeah.
てみる
Okay, so just realized, yeah, this is replaying the first scene that we saw, just as we can actually see, not in his meaty vision. As though that answer drained the last of his patience, Fuminori bolts out of his chair.
おい、
Hey,
Fuminori
Fuminori! Even Koji can't keep his voice from rising as he tries to stop Fuminori from leaving. Fuminori reacts swiftly, threw his hands over his face as though to shield himself from something terrifying. Maybe some spit flew inadvertently from Koji's mouth, but that happens sometimes. Fuminori's reaction is beyond the pale.
だから今日も診療な
Like
ん
I
だ
said, Fuminori snaps, making no attempt to relieve the discomfort of his friends. Today is my checkup. I have to go. Even as he tosses money on the table to pay for his coffee, he acts like he's touching something filthy.
それじゃ
Later. Fuminori stalks out of the cafeteria, almost as if running away. Cloaked in heavy silence, the remaining 3 lower their gaze to the table, where the abandoned 10,000 yen bill sways forlornly. Fuminori's coffee is untouched.
やってられないわ
I
ね
can't take this anymore. Omi says with a sigh, but Koji shakes his head reproachfully.
Fuminori には
Fuminori just needs a little more
だ
time.
ってもう
But
3
it's
ヶ
been
月
3
よ
months.
なん
What's with
な
his
のよあ
attitude?
れ
I feel like I'm going
付き合って
crazy
る
hanging
こっ
around
ちが
him.
変になる
俺だってわからない
Hey, I don't understand what
わ
he's
かるは
going
ずも
through
ないと
either.
思う
I don't think any of us
お前
can.
だって想像
Can
つ
you
くか
imagine losing your whole family
あ
like
んな
that?
ひどい形で
That's
家
true
族
anyone
全
else.
員を奪われて
It could
平気でいられるわけ
have
ない
happened to anyone. A tractor trailer flipped over on the highway, crushing the Sakisaka family car into twisted scrap. They said it had been difficult to tell the bodies of Fuminori's parents apart. For a while, it had looked as if there was no hope for Fuminori either. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to leave the hospital and return to a normal life.
見舞いに行った時
It
は
was worse
もっとひどかったじゃないか
when we went to see him in the
誰が
hospital,
誰か
remember?
も分からずに
He was terrified of us,
怯えて暴
like
れ
he
て
didn't know who we
ベ
were.
ッドに縛り
He
付けら
even
れて
had to be tied to the bed. He freaked out so bad.
よくあ
I'm
そこ
just
まで
glad
立
he's
ち
made
直
it
って
out
く
of
れたと
it
思う
so far.
それにしたって
Made
変
it this
よ
far.
先坂くん
There's still something strange about him. What's with the way he looks at us? It's like we're not even
こっちが
human.
人間じゃない。
よせ近江
Cut it out, Ami. Koji says forcefully, probably less of an empathy for his friend than out of consideration for Yo. While Koji's kindness makes her happy, Yo always knows that she mustn't take advantage of it. Fuminori is the victim, just as Koji said. He's the one who most deserves sympathy. Yo's feelings for Fuminori are her problem, and no one else's. She doesn't blame Fuminori for not giving her an answer after she worked up the courage to ask him out. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for taking the time to consider that she would have had he treated their relationship casually. Apparently, the fact that Fuminori did not reject her was enough to make them a couple in Koji and Omi's eyes. They've had plenty of fun at Yo and Fuminori's expense since. The truth of it, though, is that he still hasn't given her an answer. After revealing her feelings to him, Yo didn't see Fuminori again until a week later, and then she could only stare at his broken body through the window of the ICU. And when he was finally released after 50 days, that seemed an eternity, he was somehow different. She's starting to doubt that even he remembers what she confessed to him before the accident. Now winter is coming, and her feelings hang forgotten in the cold, lonely air. Dr. Tambo Ryoko has never had more troublesome patient. Any changes since your last visit?
いえ
No,
別だ
nothing to speak of.
これといって問題は
His voice is hard and flat. His words toss carelessly into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Ryoko is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist, but even she can sense the thickness of the wall he has erected between himself and the world.
吐き気やめまい、
Any nausea, dizziness, or hallucinations?
いえ何も
No. While Sakisaka appears to be looking at Ryoko, his gaze is actually aimed a fraction down and to the side. He only superficially engaged in the conversation, when in truth, it does not interest him in the slightest. Perfect rejection. Realizing that she cannot interview him like this, Ryoko sighs and lets her chart aside.
先坂さん、
Mr. Sakisaka, the procedure you received at this hospital was the latest in
脳
experimental
神経医学の
neurosurgery.
分野では
We
世
explained
界
this
的に
before,
最先
didn't
端
we?
の治療でした。
Treatment of
そのことは
subdural
ご存知ですよね。
hematoma through the use of micromachines, a procedure available in Japan exclusively here at T University, had been the only way to save Sakisaka Fuminori from a cerebral contusion that should have been fatal.
最先端であるということは、
With any
まだまだデー
experimental
タの
treatment,
出揃って
there is
い
always
な
the
い。
risk of unexpected
そうでしょ
complications,
うね
of course. Sakisaka Fuminori's lips twist slightly in what might be a bitter or mocking smile, but it's gone before Ryoko can discern its meaning.
普通、こんなことを
Normally,
言
I
って
would
脅か
never
すのは
say
医
anything
者
to
として
frighten a
問題な
patient.
施術後に
There
重大
have
な
been
脳障
reports
害を
of
きたしたケー
serious
スも報
neurological
告されているん
disorders
です。
post-surgery. We must continue to
予後の
monitor
経
your condition
十分
carefully.
に注意しなければなりま
Hence,
せん。
these weekly checkups, if only he would take them a little more seriously.
先週の MRI はどうでした
How was last week's MRI? Sakisaka asked abruptly, as if to catch Ryoko off guard. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Sakisaka's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoko recalls his profile. Thought MRIs were standard in 2009, but you know.
そういえばあなたも
Oh, that's right.
医者
You're
の
a
卵
medical
だった。
student, aren't you?
先生が心
The
配して
kind
い
of
るような脳機
anomaly
能不
you're
全
worried.
は画像
The
診
kind
断
of
だけでも
anomaly
十
you're
分に
worried
わかるは
about
ずですよ
should
ね
show up on the MRI, right?
何か
Did
異
you
常
find
はあった
anything?
いいえ、
No. There was nothing, not the slightest hint of abnormal activity for a procedure with such a low rate of success. The result has been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoko. He can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior. Something terrible weighs on his soul, perhaps. But if it's an inorganic problem, then there's nothing she can do as long as he refuses to explain it.
大丈夫ですよ先生
I find. I've been on my own for the 3 months without any
今こう
problems.
して病院の
Could go
外で
wrong
も
now.
何不自由なく生活。
ねえ咲坂さん
Please, you know the
こうい
continued
った難し
observation
い
is
手術
required
は
after these
予後
difficult
不断の
surgeries.
原則なん
You
で
have to
す
trust us a little more.
そうですよね。
I suppose you're right. I do not
僕
want
だ
to
って
trust you,
先生方
doctor.
を信用した
I
い。
do want to trust you, doctor. Can I come to you with anything?
ええも
Yes,
ちろん
of course. Ryoko answers, smiling to cover up her irritation. Sakisaka asked exactly the same question during last week's visit.
じゃあ
Well then,
先週の
let's pick
話
up
の
where we
続き
left
なんです
off.
が、
Have you learned anything
先生、
about Dr.
あれか
Ogi?
ら大貝教授に
Unable to answer, Unable to answer, Ryoko hardens the mask for a smile. As before, the patient is inquiring about someone whom he has no business
大
knowing.
貝教授の
If
こ
you
と
don't
は
mind me asking, what does Dr. Ogai have to do with your treatment?
信頼しろと
You
言
just
った
told me
矢
to
先に
trust you,
いき
and
な
now
り
you're
隠
keeping
し事です
secrets.
か。
Ryoko is used to patients treating her with hostility. Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you. Huh? Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you? What? In Sakisaka, however, she doesn't see the anxiety with other patients that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning as a
何分
suspect.
だいぶ前にここを辞めら
He
れた
left this
方です
hospital
から
some
ね
time ago. I never had any contact with him
辞め
myself.
た理由は
Do you
ご
know why
存
he
知
left?
ええ
Yes, I
おそ
believe
ら
it
く
was
個人的
personal.
な事情で
Ryoko
しょう
answers
ね
smoothly. Her earlier hesitation gone, and decided at the outset to lie. He has no trouble doing so with a straight face.
それにしても
Why do
咲
you
坂さん
keep asking about Dr.
なぜあなた
Ogai?
は
Are you
そんなに
acquainted?
教授は今
Did
失
you know
踪
what
中
the
なんです
doctor? Do you know
知ってました
that the doctor has gone missing?
いいえ
Ryoko realizes that her answer may have been a little too quick. She should have acquainted. She should have acted more
近
surprised.
頃教授の身内の人
He
間と
recently
恋に
become
していま
close
し
with
た
a
ね。
relative of his.
その人から調査を頼まれているんです。
It was she who asked me to find him. A relative? Ryoko considers with a frown.
大貝教授に縁者の方はおら
I
れない
didn't
は
think
ずです
Mr.
が
Dr. Ogai had any relatives.
おお
Oh?
誰から
Who
聞き
told you
ま
that?
それは
I heard it from a nurse.
噂話に
Ryoko replies, remembering that she just claimed to have no contact with the
なる
man.
ほど。
I see. The doctor was famous enough to have nurses gossiping about him.
まあ一風変わった
I
人
hear
だっ
he
た
was
み
an
たいです
unusual
ね
man,
なのに
but no one knows
誰も
why
彼
he
が
left
大
the
学を辞めた
university.
理
Ryoko falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she can brush away with a smile. Sakisaka seems to have finally grasped her mood, however, as his strangely stiff tone softens a little.
先生、
Please, I have
僕
to
は
find
どうして
Dr.
も彼
Ogai.
がいなくなったせいで、
There's a
いくら
girl
手
who
がな
needs
くなり
him.
困っている子
Can't
が
you
いる
help
ん
me?
で。
それはむしろ
This
警
isn't
察の
something the
領分
police
なん
should
じゃな
handle.
いかしら
Isn't this something the police should handle? Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogai Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who was involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. Okay, give me 1 second. I need a glass of water. Isn't this something the police should handle? Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogai Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, the university will be investigated. Everyone who was involved in the accident will be at risk of exposure. Sorry, I had to clean up after my dog, so I'd be a little winded right now. And of course, that includes Ryoko herself. She knows, however, that Sakisaka is unlikely to go to the police. First of all, his excuse is obvious a lie. They already made sure that Ogai had no relatives who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth of what happened. But then how did Sakisaka, a mere patient, learn about Ogai?
咲坂さん私の知っている
Be
範囲
happy
の
to
こと
help.
は喜ん
But
で
there's
お教
been
え
no
しま
word
す
from Dr. Ogai since he resigned last
大
April.
貝どこか長期の旅行にでも行かれ
I
た
can
か
only assume that he's gone on an extended
その程度しか
vacation.
そうですか。
I see. Expecting resistance, Ryoko is surprised when Sakisaka backs down. She's still worried about his condition, and the mysterious link between him and Ogai is only making her more uneasy. But as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes, "Progress good" on Sakisaka's chart for today.
咲坂さんそれで
About
は
next
来週
week's
の診
appointment.
察です
How
が
does 4 o'clock?
今日と同じ4時でも
Before she can finish, Sakisaka's gone. Looks like someone sprayed the walls with paint from ceiling to floor. What color should the walls of the hospital be? White, of course. And the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me. I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should. I know, intellectually, that the walls are white. I know that the flesh beasts are really human. I'm the one with the problem, and it's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even if my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as T's university, I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what happened to me, though it's hard to believe. This isn't a pathological condition. It's probably some form of agnosia, unlike anything that has ever been studied before. The flesh beast called Tanbo Ryoko said that the other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment. After receiving the same treatment I did. So I guess I'm just another failure. It makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all doctor's face. That said, I don't believe the doctors who operated on me, after all. I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was, that I had no other hope of survival. I was unlucky. That's all there is to it. The point is that my medical condition isn't treatable. Just like someone adapting to a hearing aid or a wheelchair, I have no choice but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course, it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me, there's a glimmer of hope. Keeping my eyes on my feet, I hurry home.